From the rookies to all of the question marks surrounding Nick Caley and being a first-time play caller, Houston's first preseason game provided clear answers and several positive takeaways.
You are Locked On Texans, your daily podcast on the Houston Texans. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Battle Red Nation, from H-Town to your town. Today's episode and every episode is for Texan fans all around. If you're a first-time listener, thank you for stopping by. I want to take time to shout out the everydayers from the Himalayas, checking out the Locked On Texan podcast Monday through Friday with me, your host, Texans credential media member and football analyst, John Hickman. Today's episode and every episode is for the fans as we talk Texans here on the show, diving into the Texans preseason game, laying to rest all of the worries or some of the worries that we had coming into the season, coming into camp, coming into OTAs. Did we feel like some of those questions were answered? I think the answer should be yes, although we need to see more. I was impressed by the defensive depth, but also the offensive direction was a little bit made clear for us. Now we know what we should be expecting to see. Very impressed by Nick Caley and the play calls that I saw this Saturday as the Houston Texans took on the Minnesota Vikings. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. And my initial impressions of the Texans offense and my first observation, of Nick Caley's offensive scheme, I thought that there was some great takeaways. I thought the offense was concise and moved with a ton of tempo. Early in the 10-play drive, the 10-play 74-yard drive, you see the Houston Texans get to the line of scrimmage quickly, setting the tone and urgency. We also got a good glimpse into what the offense is asking of the quarterback. There was a play. This was 2nd and 6, 2nd and 5 in the second quarter. But this was a play where Slovis looks like he had the freedom to read and identify the defense, understand that there's pressure coming, and checked out of the play and into something else to beat the pressure. And they did. They were able to pick up the first down to a pass from Slovis to Xavier Hutchinson. But what I really want to highlight is that we got to look at the versatility of the offense, an early look at what this offense is going to look like in terms of how versatile it'll be throughout the season. I thought the play calling on the first drive was masterful. The use of the fullback really did aid to the offensive line and the running game. I thought that was important. And the running game for that first drive helped set the tone while they were able to sustain it 10 plays, 74 yards, converting on 3rd and shorts. If there wasn't a false start, I think that was from either Brevin Jordan or Blake Fisher. If it wasn't for a false start, we would be looking at a 3rd and 2, but it ended up being a 3rd and 6 or 7. They were still able to convert. So you love to see the offensive run game setting the tone, which allows for the playbook and the type of play calls to open up a little bit. The involvement of utilizing the tight ends in 12 personnel situations, I thought that was very important to see. And listen, we talked about the tight end group. We talked about them throughout the training camp process, right? How good they've looked, how consistently good they've looked. So it was good to see that against another team and what to expect from that unit. Very impressed by the run blocking as well from the tight end group. I think it was a perfect showing of how they will sequence plays. Didn't feel scripted, but felt more so as the play calls were in response to what the defense was showing. I thought that was very important. Motioning with a purpose to get the ball in the hands of playmakers. The Berrios touchdown I thought was a beautiful play call, and I'm going to call it the Caley creating concise chaos offense because that's what I saw in that first drive. I saw him motioning Noel to the other side to get him the ball on the screen, get him the ball in space and maybe create some additional yards up the field, right? I saw that. I saw some downfield action, but I can see this team really creating opportunities to get receivers opportunities to get some yak yards. I said opportunities too many times there, so I'm sorry. But from what I saw, it looked like, okay, they're going to find ways to get the ball in the hands of some of their edge playmakers, the guys on the outside. They're going to find a way to get the ball down the field a little bit. They're going to find a way to get the ball to the tight end. But with those opportunities, is there some space for those guys to turn up the field and run to pick up additional yards? The run opened up everything for that offense, and Houston was able to bring pressure instead of reacting to it. That's something that I was very disappointed with in terms of last year and when Nick Caley was brought over. If you guys remember, we had those conversations super early in the offseason about what should the next play caller bring. And for me, it was all about not reacting to what the defense is showing you, but bringing that pressure to create your own pressure on the defense, to put them on their heels. And again, the run allowed for the Houston Texans offense, specifically on that first drive, to do that. I absolutely love what I saw from Aireontae. I'm going to call him Tay. D'Amico Ryans calls him Tay. I'm going to call him Tay. But I love what I saw from Aireontae and Jake Andrews. I thought that was very important for all of the wise Jared Patterson not starting over Jake Andrews. What did you guys hear me say the past couple of weeks? What they like from Andrews is what he brings in run support. And you got a glimpse into that Saturday. I love what I saw in some of those matchups with Aireontae Ersery versus Dallas Turner. I thought he was whooping Dallas Turner. The Texans running behind Aireontae Ersery via PFF, 3 carries, 20 yards. They averaged 6.7 yards per run. They averaged 4 yards per carry before contact on those runs. So as much as we talk about who's going to be the RB1, I tell you what, listen, what you love to hear and see is this year, whenever Joe Mixon gets back or whenever we see Nick Chubb, the expectation, hopefully and consistently, will be those running backs won't get hit at the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage as much as they did in 2024. Again, I'm going to give you guys those numbers. 6.7 yards per attempt. They average 4 yards per contact, 4 yards per carry before contact on those runs towards Aireontae's side. So I love to see that. I want to let you guys hear what D'Amico Ryans had to say about the first team offense and what he saw and what he liked.
For the game today, I was really pleased with our first offensive group, the way they stepped out, very efficient. I liked everybody just being calm and composed. Davis did an excellent job of driving the ball down the field, commanding the huddle, putting the ball in really good placement. Then to see Dare have a couple of nice runs there, that's playing behind his pass, and it was a really nice finish to the drive with Berrios, like him not only catching and securing the football, but finishing physically through the end zone.
That's what they want to see. They want to see a lot of finishing and physically finishing. They want to see a lot of opportunities to get their playmakers the ball and have them in space to get up the field. I thought a lot throughout last year. We needed those explosive plays to come by, big plays down the field of Nico Collins, right? And so what you like to see is guys can just get up the field. And maybe a 20-yard catch isn't just a 20-yard because the play was made at the 20-yard line of a catch or whatever, but maybe because we saw them get up to 20 yards on the play. They were able to take it from 4 to 5 to 6. And now you look up the field, 20 yards before the tackle. That's positive. That's something that you want to really see from this offense that we had question marks. And so if I could give out stars for the offensive players, Braxton Berrios, what he did for the Houston Texans, I think, along with his score, again, how they were able to utilize him, 3 catches, 33 yards, 1 TD. I thought Aireontae Ersery, the rookie right tackle who played left tackle, rookie tackle, wherever, left or right, we know that he's going to be good on the field. I thought that he played well, and Jake Andrews. I thought that if I could give any stars out to any players on the offensive side of the ball, it'll be those 3. And I got to give a shout out to Davis Mills, who operated from the pocket. If there was pressure, didn't get scared, knew what to do, delivered throws on time. That throw to John Mechie, where John Mechie comes down with it, I thought that he did himself a favor, returning the ball and catching the ball. But just to see that, how that throw came out confidently, you want to see that from your backup quarterback to make sure that you have the confidence. If something happens, he'll be able to hold it down. So good showing from the first unit on the field and moments throughout the game from the rest of the offensive group. On the defensive side of the ball, the takeaway for me is good depth rules the world. What do I mean by that? Stick around for more Locked On Texans podcast. This episode is presented by Yahoo Fantasy. It's the best time of the year. NFL kickoff is almost here, and that means fantasy football season is back in full swing. And this year, Yahoo Fantasy is turning things up with a fantasy football experience like never before. This year, me and a few of the listeners and viewers, we will be in a Locked On Texans Swarm League. That's going to be fun. I can't wait to see the trash talk. Can't wait to see all of the different names. It's going to be hilarious to see. But we're playing on Yahoo Fantasy, and you should too. Whether you're a first-timer or a veteran making your millionth league. To celebrate 28 years of fantasy football greatness, Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 big new features over 28 days throughout August. It's the kickoff. And so to kick it off, they just dropped the Yahoo Fantasy Guillotine Leagues, a killer new way to play fantasy football on Yahoo with the lowest scoring team getting eliminated each week until there is one team left standing. With the season around the corner, now it is the time, to get your league together and give this new mode a try. But listen, if you're into the more classic way of playing, you can still play in head-to-head private leagues or join a public league. Stay tuned for more killer announcements and start playing Yahoo Fantasy Football now at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. Welcome back, Locked On Texans listeners and viewers. I came away from the preseason feeling good about the Texans' depth on the defensive side of the ball. So I panicked a little bit, right, when they drafted Jalen Smith, the rookie cornerback out of USC. I said, man, you already got Jalen Petrie on this roster. You added another Jalen, and some of the similarities that I like about Jalen Petrie and what he does well, I saw the same thing out of Jalen Smith. I said, hey, Houston, you need to make sure that you booster your outside cornerback. Who's going to be CB3? And I said, oh, what is Houston doing? Lo and behold, D'Amico Ryans just kind of told everybody, but told me, hey, man, stay over there. Let me do my job. Let me do what I came to do, and that's coach up a good defense. I was impressed by Jalen Smith. 3 tackles, only 15 yards allowed on the day. But let me tell you what I was impressed by. And this is one of the positives that I saw coming out of his game, in his game coming out of USC, his willingness to come up and make a tackle. I thought it was good technique in open field. There was one play where if he didn't come down and make that tackle on a run, that running back may still be running. So you love to see the physicality of the game from a young cornerback, not scared. And listen, he's in that room. They call him J-Rock. He's in that room with Kamari Lassiter, who just a year ago had to go through the same thing, and Kamari wasn't scared. So you like to hear that they're paying it forward in their room. Not a lot of scaredness. Loved what I saw from Jalen Smith. EJ Speed, man, it was everywhere. EJ Speed was everywhere. 3 tackles with a TFL, tackle for loss. Only allowed 9 yards in coverage. I want you guys to hear from D'Amico Ryans on EJ Speed. Jamal Hill and the linebackers making some good open field tackles and what he saw defensively. Hear from D'Amico Ryans.
Yeah, defensively saw some really nice plays from the linebacker spots. EJ, nice physical hit there. Jamal making some plays. Nick Neiman. You got a lot of guys stepping up making plays defensively. Just with this group, we still have to figure it out. Those guys are competing, and competition makes everyone kind of step their game up. So excited to see those guys this next week, see how they continue to progress.
Competition. We ain't forgot Coach Ryans, but I love what I saw from their linebacker group. I really did. And again, EJ Speed is everywhere. Now you look at adding the veteran to their room that already features Azeez Al-Shaair, Henry To'oTo'o, Christian Harris coming back, EJ Speed. But I gotta give some love and I gotta shout out. We talk about depth. You know, depth is good for the position group, but it's also great for special teams, right? Frank Ross needs somebody. And Jamal Hill, I thought, did a very good job carving out a spot from himself on special teams. Good tackle on Rondale Moore, caught the angle, made the play, speedy recovery to Rondale Moore, who was carted off the field. But that was a great play by Jamal Hill on special teams. That was a kickoff return or punt return, but it was a return. And he came down there, not out of control, with a purpose, like a missile being shot out, but it was all great technique. I was impressed by his ability to be reliable in his second year. From some of these players that are in the position Hill is in, it's all about making a way to stay around. He was a 6th-round pick, and also dealing with transition in his life and his playing career because he was at safety. Now he got brought down a linebacker his last year in college, and so that was what I thought was noticeable. Like, what can a player do that's noticeable? What's going to pop out on film to make coaches pause, rewind, and not get on the player, but show everybody else in that room, this is what we are asking of a player, of a Texan player. If you're going to wear the uniform, this is what we want to see. And I thought Jamal Hill, whether it was in the run game, whether it was dropping back in coverage, whether it was on special teams, I thought that he did a good job. Finished with 6 tackles, a TFL, in coverage, didn't allow nothing to beat him deep, kept everything in front of him as much as possible, only allowed 13 yards. That was a perfect day and game for Jamal Hill, and it gives Houston a perfect assessment of his value and what he'll be able to bring. Again, for some of these players, you can't afford too many bad mistakes. What are you going to do that's noticeable, that pops out on film in a good way? Jamal Hill, I think, has some good moments. Now, on the opposite side, who didn't have a lot of good moments, what I thought was alarming, hey, man, D'Angelo Ross. Again, what is his reliability factor? Was it good? Was it questionable? Was it so-so? For me, it was not good. Allowed plays of 18, 17, and 20 yards compared to Tremont Smith, allow less yards on more targets. So a bit of a stock up, stock down competition going on between D'Angelo Ross and Tremont Smith. Some very good open field tackling from the entire defense. Not a lot of missed tackles on the day. I do want to highlight that. I was impressed by how those guys came up and made plays. I thought that was very important. You also got a feel of what this defense is going to look like. If I could look at some more cons from the day, the D tackles struggled in the run game, the guys that they had out there. There wasn't a lot of resistance with that first and second team unit. They had moments where those guys were getting the best out of them. But what I did like on the outside, the edge guys, that we talk about depth, Casey Toohill making a play. Taylor, who's out there, who got a lot of good love during the broadcast, right? He's a pro's pro. You're looking at getting a guy like him who's averaged 6 to 6.5 sacks throughout his 4-year career. He's a backup player for the Houston Texans, but he's a valuable and valued backup player for that DN, edge spot. So I love to see that. I think that going into this year, do I have my questions answered about CB3? Will that be Jalen Smith? From everything that I've seen from training camp, with everything that we saw on social media, or me just visibly being there, and also getting a good glimpse of it in the first preseason game against Minnesota, who has some of their first team players out there. J.J. McCarthy was out there. Jordan Addison was out there. So from what I'm seeing, Smith seems to be the best option right now for the Houston Texans at CB3, a guy that can come in when needed, maybe provide versatility, allow for you to get a little bit exotic, maybe putting Kamari inside, maybe you want to put him outside. Can he continue that trend upward of just being a trustworthy, reliable option out there when needed? Miles Bryant also had a good day for the Houston Texans. Now, to close out the show, did the Texans do a good job of laying to rest some of the concerns coming into this season? More on the Locked On Texans podcast to close out today's show. Texan fans, please be at the NRG Stadium on time this year. Do not struggle to get your ticket. And you know what? Game time ain't going to let you struggle. We've all been there, logging on early, waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale. Only to lose your spot for a show you've been dying to see or a game you've been dying to attend. Live music should be about making memories. Texan games should be about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping. That's where Game Time comes in. Game Time makes getting tickets faster and easier than ever. Prices actually drop. It gets closer to showtime or game time, and you can save up to 60% off with killer last-minute deals. Tired of endless scrolling, trying to find the best deal? Game Time Zone Deals picks the best seat in your section for you. You ever wonder what your view will actually look like before you buy your ticket? The app shows you a panoramic seat view, so there's no surprises. I mean, Game Time just makes it easy for you. Take out the guesswork of buying tickets. Take it out. No more guesswork. You can do that. You can take out the guesswork of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Game Time. Visit Game Time today. Battle Red Nation. Listen here, man. Laying to rest any of the worries. We had worries. Again, to be fair, this is a game we didn't see the fullness of the starters. Only a few starters was out there, right? So, and they were going up against some guys that are backups. Now, again, J.J. McCarthy was out there. He is projected to be the Vikings starting quarterback. On the defensive side of the ball, they had some starters out. No Jettas on the day, but again, no Derek Stingley on the day. So we can only go based off of what we saw. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This is the part of the football talk that I love, because I'm not gonna say that I was wrong in my – I mean, we all had worries about Nick Caley being a first-time play caller. But we got a glimpse of what the offense is gonna look like. And that's important. So, like, when I look at laying to rest any of the worries, I do feel more at ease, and I believe that our listeners should as well, more at ease as to what the offense is going to look like. That first drive, again, I think it was masterful. We saw Nick Caley and what the offense would look like when the Houston Texans had positive running yards. There was not a play where they would stop behind the scrimmage or running the ball. I gave you guys the numbers on Aireontae Ersery running behind him, and I'm going to be honest with you guys. He was moving bodies down the line of scrimmage. That's one of the advantages that I saw of Aireontae Ersery, comparing the player that he is compared to some of the guys that the Houston Texans drafted in years prior across that offensive line. At least from a physical standpoint, he's got everybody beat. Houston traded away Laremy Tunsil. And yes, no matter how we felt about Laremy Tunsil in terms of leadership or, you know, the contract not met, whatever you felt, that Laremy Tunsil, losing Laremy Tunsil, you're losing a ton of talent. But what Aireontae provided in pass blocking, what he provided in run blocking, which I think is more impressive, gave me the hope of, this kid's going to be all right. You got one-on-ones. You going up against Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. at practice day in and day out. And so when you're going up against a Dallas Turner, this is nothing. There's nothing you can throw at me that I'm going to be scared of or I haven't seen. So laying to rest of, they got a guy. They got a cornerstone tackle. I've talked about it. I know what I saw at practice. And just to see that in the game, I thought was very encouraging. But again, the offensive tempo. If you guys remember, C.J. Stroud has talked about what he wanted to see from an offense. Gave his version of every time he talks about it, he looked at what New England did in their days and what the Rams did with Stafford. Those from his words. And so, no, we did not see C.J. Stroud out there, but if Davis Mills gave us a glimpse into what the offense is going to look like in terms of execution, getting to spots, motioning players with a purpose, right? Tempo, which is extremely important, precision, concise. If Davis Mills gave us that, then what's encouraging is we'll see that from C.J. Stroud and Nico Collins and Christian Kirk I thought that was extremely important. And so, like, all of the issues and concerns that we may have had about what will the offense look like, for me, the first preseason game, I'm not going to say I'm 100% calm. I'm not 100% at ease. But now we have concrete evidence to go based off of. And on that first drive, you saw the involvement of the fullback to open up running lanes, to give Dare what he needed. And Dare ran the ball well. We also saw how they use the tight ends, not only to block, because I don't want to just regulate them as blockers, but throughout the game, stick option route for Case over to, on the second play. He looks good, good hips, got open, maybe was able to get a couple yards with the field. That's good. That's encouraging. All of the encouraging things that you needed to see from some of these guys, that as much as we like them, as much as we talk good things about them, their track record in the NFL doesn't match the excitement that when we talk about some of these guys. So I like the progression of what I saw from the tight end unit, and that's without Dalton Schultz. I really like Jake Andrews. I really do like I love what I saw from Jake Andrews, just being able to get up under some of these guys and move them the hell out the way. That's encouraging. And, what's really encouraging, we could talk about the guy who led receivers on the day. I thought it was an encouraging day for John Mechie. 5 catches, 45 yards, 8 targets. They are actively, and this is something that I noticed at camp, they are actively trying to get him involved, but also had a kickoff return of 23 yards. I thought that was important. That's good to see. What I didn't like on the day, and this is a part of laying to rest the concerns of, wasn't a good day necessarily from Woody Marks. Now, that's running the ball. I cannot leave out this show without saying this, and I have to highlight it. Jawar Jordan and Woody Marks did an amazing job picking up picking up blitzes and pass protection out the backfield. They did an amazing job. I thought that was the most impressive feature from those 2 young running backs. That's a worry for teams when you draft some of these running backs, especially once you get to the 2nd and 3rd and 4th and 5th round for some of these running backs that are not the highly touted running backs. You start to look at some of the tape and you wonder, can their pass protection translate to the NFL? And I'm here to tell you, they did an amazing job. As a matter of fact, I think it was Jawar Jordan, maybe Woody Marks, but on the 3rd and 6th play where the Houston Texans were able to pick up a first down to Xavier Hutchinson, they were responsible for picking up that linebacker coming in, giving them a short amount of time to get the ball out. That was what you want to see. I thought that was extremely encouraging. So, laying to rest any other worries on how the offense will look, I think we got a better look at that. The offense, in my opinion, was very concise. Laying to rest what the running backs, the young running backs, will be able to provide for this team. Laid to rest their ability to be able to pass protect their quarterback back there. I want to see a better run opportunity, a better running showing out there when they get those creases and lanes that maybe Dare got, right? So you give and you take a little bit. Very impressed, and I thought this was a land to rest any worry for CB3 at the moment. But CB4, what does that look like? Yeah, more Locked On Texans throughout the week. Your team every day. More Texans talk as I continue to the next show. I'll break down more takeaways from the game, getting more into a player perspective. And then just talk about how the Houston Texans can build on the positives. Not going to be negative this week. Building on the positives, because the next time they take the field at home, I really want to see that first team offense. Make sure you listen to the Locked On Texans podcast Monday through Friday, your team every day. Subscribe to the YouTube page, like and comment. Follow me on Twitter, social media at John_Hickman12. Until next time, ladies and gents, Texan fans throughout the nation, Texas football is back, baby. And I'm here with you every day.